Shiva-Sutra. The individual spirit, who is the innermost self of man, is essentially of the nature of pure consciousness, or the reality in its outward turned aspect of consciousness. Knowledge, vitiated by the illusions of mind, is the cause of bondage in the lower worlds. Maya, class, function, and the vehicle of consciousness determine the nature of mental knowledge, which is the source of bondage. The subtle, structural basis of all kinds of knowledge, which appear in the mind, are the specific powers present in the sounds corresponding to the letters of the alphabet or other modes of motion. The tremendous effort and energy which is required in the manifestation of a universe comes from the divine will of Shiva, the universal consciousness, and appears initially through Akash as nada, or integrated sound, from which all forms of vibration and modes of motion in the realm of manifestation are derived. By contemplation on the center through which the divine power descends and manifests the universe, consciousness reverts to its original pure state, and so the universe, as a separate mental phenomenon, disappears. By piercing through the lower three states of consciousness, Jagrat, Svapna, and Sushupti, it becomes possible for consciousness to expand into the fourth state, Turiya, from which the lower three states are derived. The Jagrat, or waking state of consciousness, comprises, in its widest sense, all knowledge when the subjective self is in direct contact with the objective world around one on any plane. The Svapna, or dream state of consciousness, comprises, in its widest philosophical sense, all knowledge present in the mind when the subjective self is engaged in mental activity in isolation from the objective world around one. The Sushupti, or dreamless state of consciousness, comprises, in its widest philosophical sense, all knowledge within the realm of the mind, because it is based on the lack of awareness of the one reality caused by Maya. He, in whose consciousness all these three states have become fused into one integral state, can wield all powers within the limited material realm. The states attained and experiences gained in the different stages of yogic practice are really astonishing. The divine power working through such a yogi, still confined within the realm of manifestation, though astonishing, is still unwedded to the divine consciousness of Shiva in the unmanifest and is not truly infinite. the objective world around such a yogi appears as his own body owing to the expansion of his consciousness. On the perception of the interaction of consciousness and the mind in the center of consciousness, the objective world produced in the mind of the yogi is seen as a dream, as a purely imaginary phenomenon. By contemplation on the reality in its purity is attained the capacity to counteract the power which binds the soul to the unreal world. By controlling and ultimately suppressing the activity of the individual mind is attained the knowledge of Atma, or the individual spirit in man. By contemplation of the Ananda aspect of self, as in the case of a devotee, the yogi becomes aware of the bliss which pervades the manifested worlds. By contemplation on divine power, which is the basis of the objective world, the yogi can see how all bodies are created by this power, and with this knowledge can create them. By contemplation on the nature of the Panchabhutas, or the 5 cosmic elements, the yogi gains the capacity to analyze and separate them, and thus to find out how the universe and the objects within have been built or put together through their instrumentality. On the dawning of the pure integrated knowledge pertaining to the principle underlying all kinds of techniques, the yogi acquires mastery over the great center through which divine power descends into manifestation in order to perform its multifarious functions. By contemplation on the infinite reservoir of the divine energy hidden within the center of divine consciousness, is gained awareness of the integrated power of sound present in all mantras, through which they achieve their respective aims. Mind is mantra. Mind is mantra. Mind is mantra. Persevering effort based on correct knowledge leads to success. Knowledge and its techniques are based upon vibration, and therefore the secret of acquiring knowledge concerning the inner realities is hidden in the science of mantras. Is hidden in the science of mantras. The lower kind of knowledge, which develops through the mind in the realm of Maya or Prakriti, is in the nature of a dream, purely imaginary and absolutely not real. The supreme knowledge, which arises in one's consciousness by adopting the proper means, is not vitiated by the limitations of individuality and can exist only in a void state beyond manifestation, which is the supreme state of reality, referred to as Shiva. The means of obtaining this supreme knowledge can be learnt from one's spiritual teacher, the Guru, who has already attained self-realization. The spiritual teacher who initiates the disciple does this by uniting the consciousness of the disciple with his own, giving him direct knowledge of Matrika Chakra through which the power of sound descends into manifestation, through which the power of sound descends into manifestation.